lovers and leaders out there. Welcome to another time with me, Dr. Sarah. How are you? So today I really want to talk to those of you who have taken a long gap from the job market for various reasons or planning to. And I really want to manage your expectations if you decide to go back in the job market, okay? So I found something on LinkedIn that was quite curious and it's actually quite interesting. And basically, there's a HR recruiter that posted their experience with their client that took about 5 years off from the job market to look after their kids and also their aging parents, okay? And then this client went for an interview, okay? And the employers basically said, she's the person's well experienced and presented themselves really well in the job interview, but the candidate is a risk to the employee, a risk. So there was a whole bunch of engagement in LinkedIn, and there was some really good highlights that I just want to kind of dive into. So just, even at this point, do you think somebody that takes 5 years off from the job market and dedicates themselves to look after their kids and their aging parents, okay, do you think that poses a risk to the company? And if so, let me know in the comment section. All right, let me know in the comment section. So I do want to say, first of all, I wonder what the candidate put on their resume. I do know from the post that the HR recruiter did say that the candidate explained that she was taking a professional sabbatical to look after, her kids and her aging parents, and explained all of this during the interview. But just like some comments said, I wonder how she was really prepped by the HR recruiter to answer certain questions about her 5 year sabbatical, because the reality is the employer, the hiring managers, and the HR employee of that company, they're not really well versed how to see these kind of cases. If things are not, in that traditional, you're being very consistent in your job and there's no job hopping, they see it all as a risk. Very archaic in mind, because they're not considering things do happen with people. We are not AI robots, okay? Sidebar, please try and learn that. So I just think that, when you are taking this time off, you need to be well prepared of how you're going to explain yourself coming back into the job market. I like some of the comments that said, before I say that, one of the comments actually said the reason why the employer probably saw it as a risk was because of that 5 years, right? There's a high chance of like a lot of idle time during that time. So the employer probably can't quite decipher, what they really did and how that whatever they learned during that 5 years, how it's going to be applicable. And herein lies, that HR recruiter that brought the client in just didn't, coach the candidate very well. The candidate themselves wasn't very well prepared to answer questions, it sounds like. And also, like I said, the hiring managers don't know what to do with all of that. They're just very fearful of that. And the reality is because they don't want you to potentially take a sabbatical under their watch. I mean, fair enough, right? I mean, think about it. The hiring manager is choosing you out of God knows how many hundreds of applicants, or even if it's 50. They're investing in you financially, compensation, benefits, the whole recruitment hiring process, the whole interview process. And then they're onboarding you, training you, providing you all this, company related trainings, and then the actual job itself. All right. No, from the employer side, and those of you that ever want to be a business leader, you will have to rethink and be like, is there a possibility that this candidate would actually take time off on our watch? All right, and what would that look like, right? And they can't control the candidate, and that's the reality, right? So moving on to how best to present yourself. If you have taken a wide gap in employment for, health reasons, you're taking care of somebody, or some of you out there are taking time off from your regular job or just quit because you want to start your own business, or you've actually started your own business and you've been trying it for several years, and or you're trying to do the social media thing and it hasn't quite create any dividends for you financially, and it wasn't what you thought, and now you want to go back into the job market. This is going to be for you. All right, so it's really important that if you this is for those of you already taken that 5-year gap or planning to, keep in mind what kind of skills have you learned during that gap or you plan to learn. I will start off with the financial skills. Do you how are you managing your budget? Do you have a budget? What did you learn about operating expenses? How much it takes to operate your business. What did you learn about, how to monitor the performance of your business? All those financial metrics, okay? What did you learn? Note those down. Did you take any free or paid certifications, okay, during that 5-year gap? Whether you start a business, even if you just were taking care of somebody, what certifications or trainings did you participate in? Even if it's like LinkedIn courses, make sure those are on your resume. All right. Did you do any volunteer work? Or if you haven't taken that sabbatical yet, are you going to do some volunteer work? And that, again, be very strategic of what type of volunteer work you're doing to really think long term how it's going to help in the job market in terms of needed skills for the job market. And if you know what kind of industry you're interested in, or what type of job you're interested in, if you decide to go back in the job market, make sure you do take some volunteering opportunities that is in alignment with that. Okay. Again, during that 5-year gap, what did you learn about people management skills? Even if you are taking care of somebody, what did you learn? So what soft skills did you learn? Okay. What soft skills you learn along the lines of emotional intelligence, okay? And the different people that you may have had to interact with as a result of taking care of your children, with their homework, for example, taking them out to their games. What type of individuals did you have to interact with professionally, okay? To really describe your growth as a potential leader, or a manager, or just somebody that's really responsible, right? So you have to be really strategic and plan ahead of all the different soft skills, emotional intelligence skills, and even some new competency skills that you may have learned, as well as financial skills during this gap, because you don't want your resume communicating that you are idle. All right, that's 5 years is a long time. It is a long time, right? And although you are looking after other people, it has to be translated in the way that you grew as a person during that time, and that new version of you, okay, is marketable to your company, that they see you as an asset. They see you as a human capital that is going to provide tangible and intangible dividends for them. If that makes sense to you, let me know in the comment section. All right. And I would also say to the hiring managers, recruiters, and HR managers, you really need to be agile in your thinking when it comes to people that take a gap, because people that take a gap, they want to explore outside of having to take care of other people. There are other people in this day and age, especially some of the Gen Zs and millennials. They want to, explore other ways to generate income for themselves. They're very creative, right? Some of them are very creative, and they want to explore different parts of the job market and their own skills to generate wealth for themselves and just generate a new lifestyle. And if you see these people come back into the marketplace, don't look down on them. At least they tried. At least they were courageous, all right? At least they showed that they can lead their life, all right? At least they knew they can take risks, okay? And hopefully calculate risks and really take an opportunity to see what they did learn and take an opportunity to see, okay, if you bring this human asset, okay, this potential employee into your group, how would this person and their experience benefit your team? Your team, especially if that person is mature in nature, especially if that person learned how to make critical decisions while they were out on this 5-year hiatus from the regular job market, okay? And another thing about bringing people that have actually explored back into your team, okay, is that they're different. You want a diversity of thought in every team, all right? You don't want that same robotic type nature of an employee coming into the workplace. Think about, okay, outside of the core skills that you need, the competency skills that you need, think about the personality. Does this personality, will this bring a nice new delight, you know, into your team? Kind of shake some things up a bit, all right? Because you want people that come into your workplace with different experiences. They have the ability to communicate with different people, all right? And these folks that have gone out, okay, and come back in again, you know, you want to look to see the diversity of people that they've interacted with and how beneficial that will be into the job market. So, you know, it's really, really important to be really conscious and intentional that when you're taking a time off, and some of you may take a time off just to rest, okay, and reset and think about what you want to do with your life. It could be 6 months, it could be a year. Be very intentional to know what you are doing during that time off before you go back into the workplace, because you are going to be questioned, all right? And you never want to seem like a risk. So I just really wanted to make this video just to really highlight and provide some mini coaching for hiring managers that are dealing with cases like this, for recruiters that are dealing with cases like this. You really need to coach and prep your people. But even the candidates yourself, you need to be very intentional to list out what soft skills, such as, you know, working with people, even about yourself, soft skills like emotional intelligence, some leadership management skills, financial skills, did you learn, and even decision making skills. In a workplace, people need people, employees need people, colleagues need people that know how to make good decisions by doing their research and having accurate enough data to make critical decisions that will create a good outcome for the team. So that, you know, those things I've mentioned, keep those in mind as you're planning to take some time off or planning to pivot to do your own thing in the marketplace. If you decide to go back in the workplace, listen, don't be ashamed of it. Just make sure you package yourself correctly so you look very attractive to the team. If you need some additional coaching with this, please check out my link below. I do provide some services in regards to coaching and consulting in regards to your career, and especially those of you that want to make that pivot. There's nothing wrong with making the pivot. You just sometimes need someone like me as an industrial organizational psychologist to see your blind spots and help you think the right way and say the right things when you return back to work. All right. So if this actually resonates with you, you're planning to make a pivot, you already made the pivot, let me know in the comment section and let me know what you gained from this. And like I said, don't be shy and to check out my link and sign up for some coaching. If you want to ask questions about the pricing, we can always negotiate about that depending on your budget. I am open to that. I have been open to certain folks, given the current situation they're in. So until next time, please remember to subscribe so you don't miss another video like this, and of course hit the notification button and help out my video, all right, by just donating a like, all right, and of course leave a comment. Until next time, stay blessed, and God says think, let's think the right way. Bye for now.